a data center and why are people pushing back?
Electric bills are going up now. Utility bills are going up now.
What's a data center? Layman's terms.
It's a giant hotel for IT equipment.
Data centers. Data centers everywhere. But I've always wondered something. Just what is a data center? And what actually happens when one comes to your neck of the woods? Well, I'm here to help you with that. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So let's start off with the million-dollar question. What is a data center? Merriam-Webster defines a data center as a facility for housing computer systems and related equipment used for storage and the processing of large amounts of data. But if we dig deeper, data centers are just really massive warehouses full of racks and racks of high-powered servers running 24/7, 365 days a year. They hold the digital lifeblood of some of the largest companies in the world. We're talking Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and even Visa, just to name a few. So what can they do? Honestly, I think a better question is, what can't they do? Online banking, Zoom calls, gaming, even that random cat video you watched before you came to my video, all pass through a data center. These facilities allow us to live our daily digital lives.
Every time you use AI, you're basically talking to a building, and inside that building have thousands of computers working at the same time. Think of it like a physical home, but for the internet. A warehouse stores physical things, and a data center stores online things. So when you ask AI a question, your request gets sent directly to one of these buildings, then processes it in milliseconds, and then fires the answer straight back at you. Inside these data centers, you have thousands of servers just stacked from top to bottom, as well as huge cooling systems to stop them overheating, and backup power so that they never go down. Some of these buildings are even so big that they can cover multiple football pitches.
At the core of it all, they handle three main tasks, and I'll break it down for you. These centers house rows upon rows of massive storage arrays, allowing them to save mountains of data, from the casual photo you took and uploaded to Instagram to high-level financial reports. The next key function of a data center is data processing. This is where the true raw power of a data center comes into play. For example, let's say you need ChatGPT to write you a basic Python script. Nothing extreme, nothing out of the ordinary. To us, sitting at our computers, we get the code within a blink of an eye. But behind the scenes, there's a massive amount of heavy lifting going on. So how does this work? How does a simple prompt go from your keyboard to working code within seconds right in front of you? First, your request is chopped up and sent to the data center in what's called packets. And for the most part, absolutely everything on the internet is transmitted that way. Within a blink of an eye, those packets arrive at the data center. Once your packet hits the data center, routers and load balancers decide exactly where to route them so your request can be processed. Think of this like air traffic control, but for your data. Look at it like this. Your packet arrives at the data center, and then the digital air traffic controller, for lack of a better term, says, hey, these specific servers over here are not busy. Head that way so you can be processed immediately. Once the packet arrives at said server, that's where your request of make me a Python script becomes reality. They do this by using high-end GPUs. Keep in mind, these aren't your regular everyday graphics cards that you and I use for gaming. These are industrial grade, more powerful than what you and I have at home. And they need to be. They're processing mountains and mountains of data within seconds.
The days of millions of GPU data centers are coming. And the reason for that is very simple. Of course, we want to train much larger models, but very importantly, in the future, almost every interaction you have with the internet or with a computer will likely have a generative AI running in the cloud somewhere. And that generative AI is working with you, interacting with you, generating videos or images or text or maybe a digital human. And so you're interacting with your computer almost all the time. And there's always a generative AI connected to that. Some of it is on-prem, some of it is on your device, and a lot of it could be in the cloud. These generative AIs will also do a lot of reasoning capability. Instead of just one-shot answers, they might iterate on answers so that it improves the quality of the answer before they give it to you. And so the amount of generation we're going to do in the future is going to be extraordinary.
But the hardware is just one piece of this puzzle. Using insane processing power, these servers run your prompt through massive neural network models. Think of these models as the construction crew building your Python code from scratch. And finally, the work is done. Your request has been officially transformed into working code. The code is then packaged up and sent back to your computer via the same path it took to get to the data center. And just like that, your raw text now becomes a functional working Python script. So let me give you guys another question. What exactly sustains all this work? What allows ChatGPT to make my Python code? It's our water, it's our electricity, it's our natural resources, all of them being heavily consumed to keep these data centers alive.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah.
The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, also known as NERC, has now issued a rare Level 3 Essential Action Alert. They're warning that large computational loads associated with data centers pose immediate risks to the bulk power systems across the nation. And these data centers are now threatening grid reliability across the country.
Let's start with what everyone needs: water. It's becoming common knowledge that these data centers require massive amounts of water to keep cool. Let me paint you a picture so that you have a good idea of how much water these data centers actually use. 100 million gallons of water per year. That's how much a medium-sized data center can consume. Research has shown that a single data center's water usage is that of a medium-sized town. All that water being sucked up by one single building. According to a research study published by Arvix, by 2030, data centers in the US will require between 697 million and 1.4 billion gallons of water every single day. To put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of the entire daily water supply of New York City. One thing to note here, what I'm referring to is just your average everyday data center. But you also have something called hyperscale centers. These are massive campuses owned by tech titans like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, the list goes on. So how much electricity do these hyperscale facilities actually use? These hyperscale facilities can consume tens of thousands of megawatt hours every single day. To give you a good idea, that's comparing the entire electricity usage of San Francisco. And guess what? Regular people like you and I are paying their electricity bills.
When you have multi-trillion-dollar corporations having facilities, especially hyperscale data centers, consume as much energy as entire localities, there's only a finite amount of energy within the grid that's available. And so what happens there is the data centers consume more and more and more of that, which means that the demand increases. What happens with supply and demand? Well, when demand increases, then the cost goes up.
Over the course of 5 years, residential electricity prices have climbed up to 27% over a 5-year span, and they're expected to keep rising. In Northern Virginia, where a lot of these data centers are, residential electricity prices have jumped up by 267%. and everyday citizens are forced to pay the bill for these massive grid updates that these companies require for their data centers.
The scale of it truly was remarkable. So for context, about a third of the internet passes through Virginia's data center alley. It's located mainly in Loudoun County, which is northwest of DC. That's where you'll see 200 giant buildings like this one. They initially were built in the 2010s for the cloud computing boom, but now there's a new gold rush because, of course, of AI. So the area already has 200 of these data centers built, and now 100 more are being built. And some, like this one right here, we've randomly looked it up. It's owned by BlackRock. Now, on the one hand, you would not be watching this video without data centers. You use them for your daily life, and they are critical for our digital infrastructure and also national security. In fact, we got pulled aside by one security guard who said as much.
I stopped you, so we're not allowed to take photos. It's our national security in the United States.
But on the other hand, they cost an enormous amount of water and energy resources that have indeed jacked up energy prices and could eventually jack up water prices for local residents. Considering the fact that these companies are making tens and even hundreds of billions of dollars, this seems unjust to many. Now the data centers are expanding to other states and also other counties of Virginia, and many of them are being built in people's backyards. Now, one of the biggest questions we had was, why are all the data centers near DC? Isn't that expensive land? Why put them there? Well, they're there for a few reasons. Number one, it's close to DC, which has enormous national security data needs. But another fascinating reason is that Loudoun County is one of the safest counties in the country when it comes to natural disasters. It runs almost zero risk for getting hit by hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, forest fires, or any other natural disasters that plague other parts of the country. Driving through it was seriously mind-boggling. And now they're expanding the data centers to other states and other counties of Virginia.
And these issues expand far beyond electricity usage and water usage as well. It's also an environmental issue as well. In rural Utah, a massive initiative backed by Kevin O'Leary called Stratos Project was recently approved to build a 40,000 acre AI data center.
On Monday, hundreds of angry residents came out to express their opposition to Kevin O'Leary's proposed data center in Box Elder County, Utah, only to be told commissioners weren't taking comments.
Why won't they let people talk? Why won't they let us ask questions? From now on, I will tell you, you continue. I have law enforcement here who will remove you from the meeting.
Fed up with the resident uprising, the commissioners left the room to conduct the meeting virtually and promptly approved the project.
I would move for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve Resolution 2612.
At 40,000 acres, it would be the largest data center in the world, consuming more power than the entire state of Utah.
I'm actually here to support good governance, which this wasn't. We actually have a 5-year review process for this kind of stuff in the past. This was pushed through in 5 months.
This data center would just mean more suffering for me and everybody else that lives here while a couple of rich jerks line their pockets.
It's my understanding that the guy that is behind all of this is from Canada. I don't understand why Utah is letting a Canada company come in and take advantage of us.
The biggest concerns really are about water usage, broad environmental impacts, and then the fact that the state is basically giving an out-of-country developer a tax break, and we're subsidizing corporate profit with public resources, and I'm just not okay with that.
They're going to poison our air, and they're going to create a heat island that's not going to be good for us either. We're already in the middle of a terrible drought.
Residents are also concerned that the data center could drain water from the Great Salt Lake, which is already suffering from declining water levels.
This data center will be roughly the same size as St. Louis. Once this project is done, it can make nighttime temperatures go up as far as 28 degrees, threatening the local ecosystem there and accelerating regional drought. As I did more and more research into this video, I started wondering, is this an American issue? Are other countries having this same problem? Well, they are.
This is Microsoft's data center in Dublin, and it is one of the largest in Europe. If you've never been in a data center before, you probably didn't expect it to be this loud.
This data center has a very specific job. It's used for cloud services and AI services, but not training. It's powering things like healthcare services, schools, government services, and many of the software tools that you will be using on a daily basis.
Over in Europe, according to the International Energy Agency, they forecast that data centers are on track to consume 32% of Ireland's entire national electricity supply. Think about that. Nearly a third of an entire nation's grid strictly dedicated just to data centers. I can go on and on and on about these data centers, but before I go, I want to leave you guys with one critical question. Government bureaucracy is slow. It moves at a snail's pace. But when it comes to these data centers, they're fast tracking everything. My question that I want to propose to you guys down in the comments, why is that? Like always, guys, thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below. I really want to know what you guys think about these data centers popping up everywhere. And like always, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you on the next one.